welcome to Kushti TV, always the straight talking YouTube channel where my specialist topics are boxing, golf, and I interview people of all interest. Please, before we get into it, press the like and subscribe button. Right, today's boxing story entails one that I've deemed the real Rocky. Yes, of course we know Rocky the film, Sylvester Stallone, the part-time debt collector, part-time boxer, knocking around, fighting at short notice, winning some, losing some, and the champion, Apollo Creed, comes in and says, that's the man I want to fight, that's the one, the Italian stallion, Rocky Balboa, that's my next opponent. So they get in touch with Rocky, of course. Most of you have watched the film. What happens, he's a bit reluctant. I don't think that'll be such a good fight, sir. He's coaxed into taking on Apollo Creed, and he does so. And the rest we know. Stardom looms from it. Of course, that was a film. It made for a great film, didn't it? But today I'm going to bring to light somebody that can match that easily in real life. Born in 1968, Steve Robbo Robinson, born in Healy in Cardiff. Starts boxing at the age of 9, has his first fight at 10. Doing so not too badly, carries on for a few years. Like most teenagers, he walks away into a direction, not sure which direction he wants to go in. He comes back to the sport. He has 25 fights. In 1989, with mediocre experience, he turns professional. His debut, he wins again. He loses his third. Now here's a pattern that emerges over the next 4 years. He literally wins a fight, loses a fight, wins a fight, loses a fight. The hard up, Robinson takes a job packing shelves. So he's now a bit like Rocky, he's part-time debt collector, part-time boxer. Robinson is a part-time store worker, stacking shelves, getting things ready, part-time boxer. He's just almost on the cusp of being a journeyman, if he's not already a journeyman. He's had 23 fights, 10 of them have come without victory. So he's doing okay, but he's far from setting the world on fire. Meanwhile, at the other side of the UK, Robinson's minding his own business, trying to make ends meet. Newcastle's John Davidson gets a crack at the championship of the world, the featherweight championship of the world. Ruben Palakis, the champion. So Newcastle's hopes are all set on Davidson trying to replicate Glenn McCrory and becoming another Geordie champion of the world. Stage is all set, tickets are sold, everything is done. And to everybody's amazement, the champion, Ruben Palakis, fails an HIV test and he's stripped of his title. Good news for Davis is he's a rightful contender. He can still fight for it. Bad news is he's got no opponent. To this story, they try to get in touch with Steve Robinson. There's a couple of obstacles. They've got 48 hours to go. Firstly, can they get hold of Robinson? Secondly, with a lowly ranked fighter, with the World Boxing Organisation, allow it to go on. Well, the first task gets met. Robinson hit his mother-in-law's house, gets the phone call. He has literally just finished eating pie and chips and he's mopping up the gravy with his last piece of bread. And just like Rocky, he says to his manager, Di Gardner, you're offered the championship, Gardner says, of the world. I don't think that's such a good idea, says Robinson. I don't think I can beat any world champions. He said, I think you can this one. He coaches him in to take in the fight at late notice. 48 hours, he's got to shed 8 pounds. So the pie and chips that he was licking his lips and loving all the bread has now become his worst enemy. He's got to get rid of 8 pounds. Now of today, the boxing world would not allow it. You have weight checks, yeah? But in 1993, such checks weren't in place. And he was able to lose the 8 pound. He said he felt drained. He'd run in, sitting near eaters, hot clothes, exercising, but he made the weight. surely now for Davidson and the Newcastle fans, this was a prime target to pick up the World Featherweight Championship. Ruben Palacios, a good champion, yeah, stripped of his title, failing the HIV test, only winning just over 50% of his fights, is Cardiff's Steve Robinson. So he's made the weight, and now they're delegating behind closed doors. They've accepted him as an opponent. So the lowly rated Robinson gets a crack at the World Championship. Through the fight, Robinson, he's doing good, but the odd favourite, Davidson, is winning with a small points lead. But as they come into the championship rounds, surely Davidson's going to increase his lead, because the weight drain Robinson not fighting at this level is surely going to weaken. And to everybody's amazement, he doesn't weaken. He comes on stronger. He wins the latter rounds. Just 7 days before he's stacking shelves, the announcement, the judges are now going to make their verdict. And the new WBO featherweight champion of the world, Steve Robbo Robinson. Can you believe it? He's champion of the world. Just like Rocky, in the movie, he goes on, he beats Drago, Creed, Lang, and so on, Gunn, he got success. But surely this lowly ranked Welsh fighter has just had his flash in the pan day. He surely can't hold on to this title, or can he? In his first defence, he takes on Britain's Sean Murphy. The Welshman stops him in 9 rounds to retain his WBO Championship of the World. But stiffer tests lay ahead. He's much the underdog against Britain's Colin McMillan. He's a 5-1 outsider. Surely his run's over, but it's not. He dishes out the goods to Colin McMillan, and to most people's amazement, he retains his WBO Featherweight Championship. So having been the underdog, winning the title, maybe a bit of a 50-50 fight with Murphy, underdog again against McMillan, he's now a big underdog against Liverpool's Paul Odko Hodgson. He won't do it again, will he? They're having a great fight, a fantastic fight, one that's close for fight of the year. It's a brilliant fight, there's nothing in it. Somehow Robinson pulls out a knockout in round 12. The fight could have went either way, but again to retain his WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. How long can this journey carry on for? In his next defence, stood in his way, was the highly rated Freddie Cruz. But again, Robinson, the story carries on. He does the business. Robinson don't like doing things easy. In his next defence, again, he's a big underdog. He's up against Britain's brilliant 3-weight champion, Duke McKenzie. But who comes up trumps with a 9th round KO? Of course, Steve Robinson. Now we've got to wonder, he loses almost 50% of his fights. He's now champion of the world. He's in his 6th defence. His 6th defence will come against Nicholas Damigella. Again, Robinson will remain victorious on a points win. Pedro Ferrades will be his next challenger, but again he will become victim of Steve Robinson with a 9th round KO. Is there any stopping this fairy tale story? Can it go on? Well, it took an exceptional fighter to bring this to an halt. It took the great, brilliant Prince Naseem Hamed to stop Robinson's great run and fairy tale story. Robinson put up a brave, gallant effort to the super Prince Naseem Hamed. He got stopped in 8 rounds to lose his title. But what a story. He'd never again fight for a championship of the world. He did again become European champion. But to think back, he's just sitting there eating his pie and chips, mopping up the gravy with his bread, just like the Rocky film. He's a part-time boxer, part-time shelf stacker for a department store. He's won just over half of his fights, and he gets the phone call. He grabs the ball by both arms, takes it, goes out there, becomes champion of the world. Seven successful defences. Who can hold it against Steve Robinson? Now has the nickname of the Cinderella Man. So they're comparing him to the heroics of Jimmy Braddock way back. But for me, he's the real Rocky story. For me, it's the real life Rocky Balboa. The lowly rank fighter gets the shot out of the blue and he takes it. Now, I haven't had the privilege of meeting Steve Robinson, but I'm told he's a wonderful man. There's been a book written on him, but I can't wait to see the real Rocky film. Surely somewhere out there's got to be a film on this man. I hope you've enjoyed the story. Click and subscribe. Stay tuned next time.